His decision to make hard choices so early in this administration demonstrates the enormity of the Commonwealth's financial situation. As the budgetary hearings begin in the coming weeks in both chambers, and without any further federal stimulus bailouts, which provide a false inflation to our revenue, this body should heed the concerns of the taxpayers all across the Commonwealth. And those concerns are no more taxes. We cannot ask our hardworking residents to pay any more. The taxpayers paying the freight have nothing left to keep these programs going. They have nothing left to fund the feel-good programs that have been propped up by the last 8 years of spending. They have no more money to keep allowing methadone users the luxury of traveling to the clinic of their choice on the taxpayer's dime. In the district which I represent, hardworking taxpayers are infuriated by the handouts by the Department of Public Welfare to individuals that receive methadone treatment. They can't understand why so many people get free taxicab transportation to clinics 50 miles away from their home to get their methadone. And for many users, this has been going on for years, 10 years, 15 years. According to the Legislative Budget and Finance Committee report authorized by this body, $32.5 million was spent on methadone maintenance transportation alone in fiscal year 2009-2010. This is a 26% increase from 2 years ago. And over the last 3 years, these transportation costs have accounted for 38% of the medical assistance transportation program. I have proposed legislation which limits spending for transportation and have asked the Department of Public Welfare to limit the trips to the closest available clinics. An individual that lives 5 miles from a clinic should not be traveling 50 miles to a clinic one way. Not on the taxpayer's dime. We can't afford that any longer. And this is just one example of out-of-control spending and why we need to support this governor in his attempt to rein it in. There will be those who will be quick to argue that changes to these programs are too tough. I argue that the changes are essential to putting Pennsylvania back on a responsible fiscal track. Just this morning, in a conversation with the acting director of public welfare, we found ourselves linking the merits of another bill, the E-Verify legislation, to the future cost savings within the welfare department. His experience in another state that began holding contractors accountable for hiring illegal workers through mandatory participation in the federal E-Verify system saw a significant reduction on the welfare burden because those illegal workers left the state when they were no longer able to collect from the public coffers. We must take a strong stance against our Commonwealth becoming a state for perpetual handouts for those who are here illegally and those who refuse to work for years on end. Our challenge this year is to reconcile our moral concerns which will arise when social programs are cut. And we need to have the fiscal courage. We need to have that will put Pennsylvania back on the right economic track. We must not commit our Commonwealth to spending forever and ever without some type of responsible restraint. We have to commit to facing these challenges, and we need to do it to the best of our ability. And I'm not standing here today to argue the line-by-line budget items that the governor laid out, because while there will be a lot of give and take on some of the individual line items as negotiations move forward on the budget, the governor's address set the right tone by recognizing and insisting that Pennsylvania must live within its means and not continue to spend money that we don't have. It's simple. It's the way we all run our homes. I thought Governor Corbett said it best today in his address when he said, "We now have to prioritize the must-haves with the nice-to-haves."